Jaap de Woord, who's the Business Development Manager for CaseWare International in Europe, and he's also the main contact for MGI and for all networks that they have relationships with. So we're delighted he's joined us with his team again of Ina and Anna, who I think are in Romania. So they'll be taking us through an introduction to CaseWare this afternoon. Previously, many of you will have attended the more advanced sessions, which hopefully some of what happens today might put some of those things a bit more in perspective, because we were sort of trying to play to two different audiences, but we're glad you've joined us. And I hope you get lots out of this afternoon. As you have questions, please stick them in the chat box. I will take them as and when, if it's appropriate to disturb the presentation. Otherwise, I'll keep them for the end and make them a discussion point at the end, depending on your exact question. So with no further ado, thank you for joining us, and over to you, Jaap, to introduce the afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. Great to be here again on another MGI webinar. So today I'm here again with Ina and Anna, and they will do the heavy lifting and actually show you the software later on. I will stick around for questions later on, maybe questions on licensing. And right now I have a 2-3 minute introduction. So I'm just going to walk you through a couple of slides quickly. Well, I don't know if any of you were also in the existing users webinars, or maybe in the very first webinar, which seems like a long time ago now, back in February, when we were still allowed to travel. Our company has been around for around 30 years. And although it says 435 employees, I think that's now more towards the 500 mark. And I'm also not really sure about those 10+ million engagements that are powered by CaseWare. I'm seeing more numbers, and that would almost indicate that that could be the engagements per year. So hopefully from that you get that it's a very broadly used piece of software, and we focus mostly on auditing and financial statement preparation. Now, the way that we are organized is that we have local people in different countries, jurisdictions, distributors, and they've been very long-term partners to us. And they would also become your main point of contact if you happen to start using our software. Now, the world is a big place, and unfortunately, we don't have distributors in each and every country. So if we don't have a local person, a local point of contact, at least we will make sure that we have a regional office. So Europe and Middle East, our team is covering that whole region. It's quite extensive. Then we have CaseWare Asia, located in Singapore for the whole Asian time zone, more or less. And Latin America, CaseWare Latin America in Costa Rica, taking care of that time zone and continent, more or less. Okay, well, and my final slide here, just as a, oh, no, sorry, I have one more. So currently we have a native cloud solution and a hybrid cloud solution. Today we will show you the hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud meaning that it's a piece of software that you have to install on a Windows computer. So you do need a Windows computer. Then it connects through the internet, and you can have multiple people working on the same engagement throughout the internet. And Ina and Anna will show that later on live and walk through the whole process. Especially convenient nowadays, I think, with everybody working remote, so at least you can still work on the same engagement from multiple locations. The native cloud platform, we've shown bits and pieces in the other webinar. We won't go into that right now. I just want to mention that it is there, and if you're more interested to go native cloud, that's an option as well. Now, my very final slide, and I'm going to go through that very quickly. I hope it's not overwhelming. But you may have seen this in one of the other webinars, and maybe you still remember bits and pieces. This is basically how, like the overview of our software. It starts out here in the top left corner with your client, and then you get the data from your client, either general ledger or a trial balance. You import that into our software, and you need to do something that's called mapping to standardize your client's trial balance. Then based on that, you can either use audit, you do that for audit purposes. That's what Ina will show today. We have all the methodology and risk assessment documents there, or you can also use that for financial statement preparation. And then here at the top, more to the right-hand side, that's how you can receive documents from your client using CaseWare Cloud as a secure environment. Well, I think that's the quickest that I ever talked about this diagram. let's move on to Ina, because she can actually show the software, and I think that's much more interesting. Okay, so I'm going to hit stop share, and Ina, then it's over to you.
Yes. Thank you. I'll just share my screen. Sorry. Okay. Can you please confirm that you are seeing my slides?
Yep.
Okay. Hello again. My name is Ina, and I will be talking about our audit product integrated with CaseWare working papers. So I will start with a couple of slides. In order for us to save more time, I will show to you the steps on how to actually create an engagement file, and then we will go in directly into a already created engagement file. I just close my mouse, just a second. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to open working papers, which is our base platform, and go to the create new file button in the menu. You will add a name to your audit engagement file. We usually recommend also add the year of the audit engagement, because it will be easier for you to find your engagements and to really know what is that engagement about. Then you will select the template, the audit template that you have installed on your computer, and then click create file. After this, your new audit engagement file for a specific client will become an exact copy of the template. You can see here that this window says copying required files. So basically it copies all the documents and features from the template into your client's engagement file. The next step would be this window that is called the engagement profile selector. This provides a set of predefined engagement profiles that will tailor the engagement file based on the specifics of the entity that is being audited. You can have bigger clients, you can have smaller clients, and based on that, you can decide what type of profiles to profile to choose for your engagement. We will talk more about the profiles when we will go into the actual engagement, because our engagement will be created based on one form profile. So you can see that we have here 6 profiles, which are incremental. We start from the minimal ones that have basic information that are not ISA compliant, and then we go into more complex profiles that contain documents and features that help you perform a ISA compliant risk-based audit. Okay. So basically, after selecting your profile, you will cut a portion of documents from your engagement file documents that you will not be using for your audit. And then you will have the second step of optimization, which we call the optimizer checklist. This is a document that contains a list of questions that you need to answer to. So based on your answers, as you can see here, I have only 3 questions, but there are more questions in this document. Based on the answers to these questions, specific documents or procedures from your engagement file will be deleted or not. So for example, if it is anticipated that sampling will be used for test of details, if you answer yes, these forms will be kept in your engagement file. If you say no, these forms will be deleted. Okay, so I will go now into my audit engagement. Let me just move it to the other screen. So after finalizing the optimization process, I lost my mouse again, you will be taken into the screen that we call digital dashboard. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So this would be the first thing that you will see after finalizing the optimizer checklist. You can see here that the digital dashboard has more tabs, and the first one that is called engagement tab is basically helping you to perform the preliminary steps before starting the audit. So we can see that we have, so the buttons are active, and these are actually shortcuts to the actions that you need to do. The second tab is called workflow, and it gives you at a glance overview of the engagement. You can see that I have more colors here. Blue means that it is not started yet, so the work on this section is not started yet. Yellow means that it is in progress, work in progress, and green, of course, it is finalized. Okay, now let's go into the document manager. This is the place where all the engagement documents are kept. As you can see, it resembles the Windows Explorer foldering structure, which is very familiar for a very familiar environment for a new user. So this is why we went with this type of structure. Now, because I already imported the trial balance in order to save time, I will go directly to the trial balance. So this is my trial balance. You can see that I have accounts and I, of course, have amounts. Right? You can see these columns with current year and prior year. Now, as you can, so I will tell you that my trial balance is not fully mapped. Let's talk a little bit about mapping. So the mapping is a technology that we developed to help the auditors to standardize their accounts. So the mapping structure is basically the lines from the balance sheet and income statements, and you can have the same mapping structures for more engagement files. And in this case, in this way, you can compare different engagement files, you can report, you can consolidate, you can do a lot of useful things with the mapping structure, actually. So let me show you how it works. I will first go to a document and show to you how it looks at the beginning before performing the mapping. So I will open a document that is called a lead sheet, inventories lead sheet, which should show me all the accounts that are for this section, that are linked to the inventory section. You can see that I don't have anything here right now. So I will just go to assign mappings. Let me just move the on my other screen. Okay. And this dialog will pop up. You can see that it is split in two. You have on the left side, you have the unmapped accounts, and on the right side, you actually have the mapping structure. As we click on these pluses, we can see the structure itself. Now, I will look for my current assets. And the way that I can map my accounts is just simply by dragging and dropping the accounts. So I will just select these four raw material accounts, and I will just simply drag and drop them into this mapping number, raw materials, right? What I want to show to you is that after clicking on apply, so let me just click on this plus, you can see that I have the account amount here, but I don't have them here. So after I will click the apply button, you will see that these amounts are summed up. So this is a very big benefit of the mapping structure, because it automatically calculates these lines from the balance sheet and income statement. Let me do this the same for work in progress and manufactured goods. Click apply and click OK. After I will click OK, just follow this document. It will be automatically populated with accounts and amounts. So basically, this is a big benefit of the mapping structure in the audit engagement phase. Okay, now another benefit of mapping, you can see it in another document. I already opened it here. Let me just move it on my other screen. It is called the simple statements document. You basically have a draft of balance sheet and income statement after you perform the mapping. So only by importing a trial balance and performing the mapping, you will already have a draft, and it will look like that. As you can see here, you can just scroll through the page and directly print the balance sheet and income statement from here and have an idea of what your client is having in his account. Okay, now let's go into the next step, and the next step would be the one for documents. Okay. I promised you that I would explain to you more about the profiles. And my engagement was created on the OneForm profile. This means that there are different ways to document the audit and be compliant with the ISA requirements. So particularly in less complex engagements, using a memo type format can be more efficient. Therefore, OneForm is a single document where planning, risk assessment, risk response, and completion areas of the audit can be completed in a memo format. It is mostly aimed at experienced auditors who have a good understanding of the standards. So let me open this document. But you can, this profile can be used also by other type of, not only by experienced auditors, if you decide so. So this is the actual document. As you can see, it is quite extensive. So it has a document map here and also a guidance. Let me just guide you through the first part, the planning part, and especially preliminary engagement activities. So as you can see, I have more questions here where I documented my work. So everywhere you will see green space. It means that you can type and you can document your work. But if you are not sure that you documented everything, you can always get back to a checklist that has specific questions that can guide you through your audit. Okay, you can see these document numbers here. These are the checklists that cover this section, preliminary engagement activities. So if I decide that I would rather use a checklist for the acceptance procedures, I will just check this checkbox. These questions will be blocked. You will see only one. This means that this is covered by the other document. And I can simply add the document into my document library from the template library. I already edited, but you can simply use this button to add it. You can work in it, and then you can just reference it in this in the OneForm document and open it directly from here. So it is very simple to use this profile. Okay. I will go now into the materiality document, which is one of the most important documents in the template, because basically you will start with materiality and then do your audit based on the calculations in it. So let me just make it. Okay. As you can see, there are more tables in it. We will start with the overall materiality. You can see that we have already amounts here. This is the table is populated based on the mapping that you perform. So based on the mapped TB, you can always, because these are green, as I said before, these amounts can be modified because this is a professional judgment process. You can always round up, round down, or change the amounts here. You will see this red dot, meaning that the user changed the software decision. The software only suggests you what you should do, but in the end, it is your decision how you want to proceed. You can add a benchmark, a percentage, and then you can have a possible materiality. And based on that, you can decide if you give this calculated possible materiality or round it up or down, or decide to have another one, a different amount. Then you will have a performance materiality, which is calculated as a percentage, a level of risk calculated from the overall materiality. You can also have adjusted performance materiality. For example, I have one for cash. And of course, the trivial misstatements. Now, what I would like to do is to go back to the OneForm document. Here. And let's say that you are doing, for example, you're understanding the entity documentation, and you are thinking of a risk. And you're saying, okay, I need to know to take a note or to document this risk. So you can use this red button here and document your risk. I already created the risk, so I will just explain to you how you can do that. So basically you will have this dialogue, which is split in more sections. The first section is the risk identification, where you will state what is the risk and how it can affect the company. And then you will link it to a specific line in your financial statements. So you can see here that I have more lines. Well, basically all the lines that have amounts on them, material and not material. And also I will link it to the assertions related to each line. You will then perform an assessment of the risk, risk of material misstatement, if it is high, low, or medium. Of course, if it is significant or not, then you will have the risk response, where you will document where you perform, what procedures you perform. So you can link the risk to a specific procedure that will mitigate this risk if there is if you have one in your work program. And then at the end, you can come back and answer if the audit has properly addressed this risk or not. Okay, now I will go into another document which is very important. It is basically the brain of the engagement. We call it the FSA, Financial Statement Areas Worksheet. It is opening right now on my other screen. So as I said, it's a fundamental worksheet where you will perform your risk assessment and risk response per FS area. Let me just make it bigger. Okay, so let me just move on my other screen. Sometimes technology is not my friend. Okay, so you can see here that we have, it looks like a table. You have the FS lines here. You have the columns. Let me just explain.
Yeah, sorry to bother you, but could you zoom in?
Yes,
yeah, okay,
yes,
thanks.
Yes. Thank you, yeah. So you will see here the first column that you will see are the balances column. You will see that we have the planning and the final balance. It is very important that you have this planning balance column, because it is important to know based on what amount you performed your planning. It will always be stay fixed, and the final balance is dynamic. It will always be updated with the changes in the audit engagement. Just ignore this, the unrecorded adjustment column for now, because I will talk about the adjustments a little bit later. Let me just explain to you what we have here for the other columns. So the materiality assessment column is, so basically the software is performing a materiality assessment based on the amounts that you imported and mapped, and based on the materiality calculated in the materiality document. You will always have this freeze here, so you will always know what is your materiality. And these checks show that these the FS lines are material. And let's see, we have a line that is not material. And of course, you can decide that this is not material, for example, or material. You can decide on your own what you want to have in your audit engagement file. So you will see this red dot every time you make a change, which is different from the software's decision. Okay, so the next columns are related to the risk assessment and risk response. So you will have here the relevant assertions for each FS line, and then you will have a column for the risks. So we created the risk, we linked it to an FS line, in this case the receivables, and it will be shown here as well. You can see that you will see the name of the risk, you will see the star means that it is a significant risk. You can always double click on it and the dialog will open. And based on the assessment that you performed in the risk dialog, just a second, okay. Here you will have, so we have 3 assertions with high risk. So basically you can extract, the software can bring the assessment that you performed in the risk dialog here. You can of course change it. You will see that there is a red square meaning that the software decision was changed. So we decided that it would be high, and then we decided to change it to medium. Okay, So based on the risk assessment that you performed for this FS line, there are more types of procedures that you can perform, audit procedures, to make sure that you mitigate all the risks. So there are type A procedures, substandard procedures basic, type B substandard procedures extended, type C substantive analytical procedures, and type D test of controls. You can decide here what type of procedures to perform, and then you will just go into the work program. The work program is basically the document that contains the procedures for a specific section. In this case, for the receivables section. So I just clicked on the reference, and the document is being opened on my computer. On my other screen, I will just move it back here. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the first thing that you will see, and you are not seeing it now because I worked on this document just to make sure that I can show you everything and save some time. You will see a bubble here saying that there were procedures deleted from this work program. To verify that, you will just need to go to review deleted procedures. I will then come back to the structure of the document. I just want to show to you the result of the Optimizer checklist, the document that you've seen at the beginning. When you answered to a specific questions with yes or no, based on those questions, specific procedures or documents can be deleted from the work programs or from your engagement file. So if we will scroll, you will see that these are, so basically these are the procedures. If we will scroll down, we will look for some blue text. You can see that I have a blue text here. This means that these procedures are deleted, and you will always have an audit trail that will tell you who deleted this procedure, when, and what was the reason. In this case, it was deleted by Optimizer, telling you why. Because at procedure number 5, you responded with no. You can always restore a procedure. You can just right click and click on restore procedure, and it will become black. This means that it is printable. Now let me go and explain to you the layout of the document. So you will always have this freeze here with the materiality and with the balances. You will have a mini risk report that will tell you what are the risks attached to this FS area and how you need to test it. Then you will have a detailed audit response table. So this is basically the decisions that you took in the FSA regarding to the procedures per assertion. You cannot make any changes here. You will only be able to make the changes in the FSA, and this document will be updated. Okay, so based on these decisions, specific procedures are shown in this document. So you will have a table with procedures, with assertions, with types of responses, and of course sign-offs and references. So there are more things that you can do in a work program. If you right click on in the document, you will see that you can insert new procedures, you can link risks to a procedure, you can delete procedures, you can sort the procedures or modify procedures. Then after you perform the procedures, you can come back here in the document and actually respond saying how the procedure was, if the procedure was performed or not. For example, you have more types of responses here: completed, not completed, completed with exceptions noted below, and so on. I already answered to some procedures. So if I answer to this one, you will see that the sign-off will appear automatically. What I want to talk about is about this type of response: completed with exceptions noted below. This means that the procedure was not fully performed, so it will require a note. So you have an issue, it automatically creates an issue for you. So basically issues are is a tool that helps you track the information from your audit engagement file. You can see the issues through the issues pane. Let me just go to the document manager. So we have a button here, Issues pane, and it will show to you the list of issues that have been created throughout the engagement file. So basically, I created the first issue. I will double click on it. You will see the dialog that is opening when I need to create an issue. So for example, you as the person that is performing the procedure, you can create an issue for yourself to remind yourself that you need to do something, or as a reviewer, you can create an issue to add a review note, or to add a topic to discuss with your team, or any of the items from this list. For example, I created the issue saying that I didn't receive all the information, and I had, and then you can have a resolution for that. You can even have a status. You can have a reminder for that. So basically, you will have a list of issues here, and when you will resolve one issue, you will just set it as completed, and it will be striped off. And this means that you resolved a problem or a note that you had. So basically, this will help you track the information from your audit engagement. You can also see the issues here in the document manager. You can always see that if there are issues on a specific document. Let me now go back to the work program. So after you finalize the work in the work program, and for this section, you can go either scroll down or just click on the audit conclusion button. You have the conclusion here. You can edit it if you need it, or if you like it as it is, you can leave it as it is, and then sign off the document. Another thing that I would like to show to you is the references, how you can add a reference to. I already added it, but I will just show you how it works. You can double click on this red plus, blue plus, and you can just select the document from the list of documents, and it will automatically appear here. So I already added a reference. I will just click on it, and the document will open. Now, just to explain to you a little bit how what is this document. So these are automatic documents that extract information from the engagement database. So if you perform your mapping, as you have seen before, the document will be automatically populated with information, and then you can use it to perform your audit. So you can make use of our annotations menu here. So as a reviewer, or even as a person that is working on this engagement, you can add notes. For example, I added a note saying that I need to somebody needs to test this account, or you can add tick marks. You can even add references or issues that I showed you before. It is very simple to do. You just select your line, you just click on this button, say, okay, note 1, click OK, and the note will appear here. It also has a section of comments, so you can add comments here. And then if you want, you can even export this document in Excel or PDF. It will look like, and if you go to print preview, it will look like that. So it will show you all the notes for each line, all the notes that you created. It is a quite useful tool for reviewers. Okay. Now, what I would like to talk about is the adjustments. So I will go to adjusting journal entries button here. In this screen, you will be performing, you'll be creating your adjustments. So basically, working papers gives you the possibility to create an adjustment and see how the trial balance or how the financial data will be affected by it. So because you are an auditor, you will propose an adjustment to your client, and you will expect them to accept it or not. Let me just go. So you can have more types of adjustments. I want to talk more about normal and unrecorded because the other one are quite easy to understand. So reclassifying, eliminating tax or prior period. But the unrecorded adjustments are when you propose an adjustment to your client and you don't know yet if they accepted it or not. But you can still have an overview on what will happen if it will be accepted. And when the client will accept the adjustment, you will just come here and set it as normal adjustment. So now it is set as unrecorded. So I'll go back to the FSA as I promised to explain to you the column. So you can see here that I have this adjustment showed here on unrecorded adjustments column. So, and also have a warning saying there is a risk of over auditing if unrecorded adjusting journal entries will become adjusted if the client accepts the adjustment. I also have another adjustment. I will show it to you also in the other screen. But I have an adjustment that says that has another warning saying that there is risk of insufficient audit work if this unrecorded adjustment will become recorded, if the client will accept it, because the amount will become material. In the first case, this amount will become not material, so maybe you did too much for that. So let's go back to the document manager, and let's say that the client accepted my adjustment, so I'll set it as normal. And if I will go back and let's do this for the other adjustment, let's set it as normal. And if I'll go back to the FSA, you will see that the warning is now a triangle, and you can see that the amount already changed. So I don't need to press on the button for the FSA to be updated. So you now will see the updated amount after my audit was performed. Of course, if you want to get rid of this warning, you just need to document what you did in order to get to this amount. So you can just go into the audit response finalization column and say, document your work. I can just say in this case, tested in work paper, and the warning will disappear. The same happens for the other adjustment. You can see that it was incorporated here, and now this is material. The checkbox appeared, so it automatically updates everything, and the warning says that, okay, you need to do more work. And you can just click on the last column and say tested in. Okay, right, and the warning will disappear. Another very interesting tool that we have, it is called Connector. Let me just open an Excel file. So I have an Excel file open here. It is opening on my other screen. Okay. Basically, this tool will help you extract information from working papers into Office documents like Excel or Word documents. I already did that, so I have some formulas that extract the data from my working papers file. It is very simple to do. You just need to have this add-in installed. You will just click on CaseWare linkage. You will select your information, and this information will bring, just a second, let me move this on the other screen. So you will basically have all the data here. You will select the data that you need to bring. The formula will pop up automatically. You don't need to learn the formulas. And then you can simply copy the formulas, and the information will be updated. It's a very good tool that will help you diminish the manual errors, the errors, the typing errors or formulas. That it happens that people make mistakes. So in the same way it works with Word documents. You can see that we don't bring only amounts. We can bring dates. We can bring many other types of information from the working papers file. Okay, let's see if so basically this was sorry.
Oh, that was just me, Ina, switching on, going off mute. So I think we get to a point that we can deal with some questions, right?
I have only one thing to explain, the engagement archiving, and that's all. Okay, please go ahead. Yeah, so basically after performing all your audit, you would need to archive the file. So you will do it by using this menu. So you can, first you can, it doesn't matter what is the order, you can roll forward your file for the next year. So in this way, you will have all the information that you documented in the file in the current year into the next year. So in the next year, you will not need to document the same information one more time. So if you documented some risks, you can bring them to the next year engagement file and you will just document new risks. It will also take the financial data and a lot of other information. So you will be more efficient. And then of course you can lock your file and nobody will be able to make changes to the file and you'll be able to archive it. So yes, questions now. Okay, well, thank you very much, Ina, for up until now. I think that everybody sees that our software is actually quite extensive, and usually I think this is like a 1.5 hour walkthrough. So in a practice that we really try to summarize and do it as fast as possible. But I think now we may have a bit of a overwhelming pace and lots of information for new people.
Yeah, there aren't any questions at the moment, but it certainly, it struck me, it brought home just how powerful this tool is in putting together an audit assignment and carrying it out. It's a long time since I've done an audit, but I can see how it pulls it all together so really effectively. Okay, great to hear. Well, and actually there's more. So almost every feature that Ina has shown will have a couple of configuration options, we'll have some settings, and there's always more depth to the feature, like for all these situations that you may want to change something, or maybe this doesn't work exactly the way Ina showed it for your firm, then there's always configuration options and tweaks. But so if you're interested in that, and if you have some questions, we would be happy to follow up with you or our local point of contact. And we can also explain some of the features in more detail to you, of course. Yeah, Murray's asked if you could just outline a little bit more about how the licenses work regarding international audit, SmartSync and Connector, obviously along with working papers. It's probably also worth commenting on the difference between international audit and local audit procedures. Yes, yes. Okay, very good, very good. So in the price list that Paul has sent to all of you, you will see a couple of products. Now, the core software, the platform software, is always CaseWare working papers. And that is most of the interface that you see right now. That is also the piece of software that needs to be installed on a Windows computer. Then, more or less on top of that, or in addition, we have modules or add-ons. Audit International is a template, and it's a template that you use within working papers. So if you were to take only working papers, you basically have an empty file, not of the checklists and risk assessment forms that Ina has shown. Those are all part of the template. So Audit International is our template for an international ISO-based methodology. Some of our distributors have taken Audit International and translated it to the local language, like Spanish or well, we have lots of European languages. We also have distributors that work with a different content partner or have taken it one level further and really modified it for their local market. So it really depends on which market you are, what is available, but it's always the same setup. It's always working papers as the core software, and then a template as an add-on that you use in conjunction with CaseWare working papers. Can I jump back in? Yeah, because I know Murray's in the UK. So in the UK, and I know you're a Mercia user, so you would more than likely, Murray, go for a Mercia formatted version, which is owned by the local distributor rather than owned by CaseWare International. But that would be outside of the deal unless you use the international audit pack that CaseWare use around the world. I'm guessing you'd probably go for the Mercia pack. But so whilst that would be priced locally, you would still be able to benefit from the working papers pricing. So you'd have a mixed bag, some of it within the pricing deal that we've got with Mercia, some of it outside of that. But the local distributors around the world are all aware of this. And Jaap assures me that these things work seamlessly and have done with other firms.
Yep, exactly. So SmartSync and Connector are also add-ons. Connector is the tool to create these dynamic linkages between an Excel sheet, a Word document, and CaseWare working papers. So the benefit of that is that when you create a supporting document with a test, and then you post an adjusting journal entry or make any other change, that change will be reflected in your external Excel sheet. So that's purely, that is the only thing that Connector does. So it's optional. You don't really have to use it. SmartSync, kind of similar. You don't have to use it. You can use CaseWare working papers, for example, with Audit International, and then you'll get everything that Ina has shown you. With SmartSync, you are able to share your engagement file with multiple people and synchronize the changes over the internet. And actually, that may be a good point in time that we switch back to Ina, because I think Ina and Anna will show you how SmartSync works in conjunction with CaseWare Cloud. So I think that would explain that in a bit more detail as well. Even though it's optional, sorry, one final comment. For audit purposes, even before this whole pandemic stuff, we already had almost all users in audit also licensing SmartSync, because it really enhances the way that you use the software and really allows you to do an engagement independent of your location. Okay, but Ina can explain it better with the slide that's on screen right now.
Okay, so
sorry, Ina, one final comment. Maybe we just show a couple of examples, because Paul, I think you'd rather stick to the 1 hour timeline, right?
Okay, I will show.
An hour would be good. Sorry, Ina. Yes, stick to an hour if we can.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'll be fast. So basically, SmartSync works like that. You will have a server. In my case, it is cloud because we are using cloud. But you can have either cloud or server. And let's imagine that we have a team of 3 users. So the manager, for example, will create an engagement file on his computer and then will publish it to cloud or server. And then you will have a parent file on cloud, and the engagement that was published is automatically transformed in a synchronized copy. And at this point, you will have a parent file and a synchronized copy. And then the other users from the team will go to cloud and will download a synchronized copy on their machines. So now there will be 3 synchronized copies and 1 parent file. So basically, any change that will be made in each and every copy will be updated in real time. So all the users will know what is happening in the audit engagement file. You can work from the office, you can work from the client's premises. In case you are using cloud, you will just need an internet connection. In case you are using the server, you will also need a VPN connection. So let me just go into the file. Okay. It is here. Okay, I have a file here. So basically, it looks like, no, it's on my screen, just a second. Okay. So, as you can see, Anna, my colleague, already downloaded a synchronized copy on her computer, and I can see that she is working in the engagement file. So let's go directly into the document manager and see how the information is being updated. So, for example, I will open the property, plant, and equipment section, and I'll ask Anna to sign off 1 document or 2 documents from this section. And you will see that the sign-offs will appear here automatically. So you will automatically see what is happening in Anna's copy. So you can see that it already appeared here. Okay. Now, if I will not be connected to the cloud, let's say I will work offline, I will ask Anna to do the same for the third document, for example, for the depreciation lead sheet. Anna, just confirm that
yes,
you did that. Yeah, you can see that she's not online right now. So I'll just go back online, and you will see that the sign off will appear automatically. I don't need to press on a button. Okay. Let's see what happens when you add documents. So let me go to the inventory section, for example, and I will ask Anna to add an Excel document and write her name in the description. What you will see is that the document will automatically appear in my synchronized copy. It will take a couple of seconds, but while Anna creates the Excel file. This happens the same with documents that you just simply add. You can simply drag and drop PDFs or Excels from your computer. You can see the document appeared here. I will go offline and I will create a document, and I will also ask Anna to create another document below the document with the reference 111. So I will create a Word document. What will happen is that when we will go online, the software will need to solve a conflict because I am offline. The software doesn't know that Anna is creating another document, so it will automatically give me this reference 112 because the references are unique in the document manager. So I will say, and I will save it. Anna, just confirm when I can go online.
Yes, you can go.
Okay, so I will go online. You will see that another document will appear here. It will be Anna's second document. So because I was the first one that created the document, I got this reference, but Anna's reference changed because you can see the conflict here, because her reference was also 112. But because we were offline, the software didn't know that there is another user that created another document with this reference. So it automatically resolved this conflict. I didn't have to do anything. You just have the information here and you just click on confirm and the conflict will disappear. Now let's see what happens when users are working in the same document at the same time. For example, let me go offline. And let's say, of course, if you are online, if you are working in the same document, you'll get a warning, and I will show it to you. But let me just first explain to you what happens when there is a user that is working from a client premise, for example, and doesn't have internet. So I will say user 1 data here, and I will ask Anna to do the same and write user 2 data in the same document 111. And when you're ready, Anna, just tell me to get online.
You can go online.
Okay. You will see that there will be a conflict. You will see a warning here and also a warning here. I will just click on show conflicts. You will see the conflict. Changes to document link 111 were overridden by later changes. So changes made by me at this time, 5:54:39, were overridden by Anna at 5:54:55, later changes. So I'll click on confirm and I will see both versions. So I have the option to view the document. So you can click on view and you can click also on save as. So you will have a new reference. You will have a timestamp in the description. You can say also user 1, this is user 1, and then confirm the current version. So now you will have two versions that you will need to compare. So for example, if I open document 114 that I created just now, you will see user 1 data. So the data that I added to this document. And if I'll open 111 document, you will see user 2 data. So what you will need to do is to compare these two documents and decide what type of what document to keep. Another thing that you the software does is that it gives you warnings when someone is working in a document. For example, Anna, can you please open this inventory audit procedures document? She will open it and then I will try to open it. But because we are both online, I will receive a warning that she is working in the same document. So I should only open it in read-only mode. I will wait for Anna to confirm that she opened the document.
Just a second.
Yeah. Okay. And when you work offline and you want to open a document, this type of document, for example, or a Word or Excel document, you will get another warning saying, okay, I don't know if there is another person working in this document, and you should decide if you want to open it in read-only mode or in normal state. Did it open on your computer, Anna?
You can open it now.
Okay. I have 3 minutes more, so we are in time. Okay.
You're doing a great job. Don't worry about the time too much.
So this is the warning that I'm getting, saying that Anna is working in this document, so I should open it in read-only mode. I would say no for now. And to show you the other warnings, I will just go back offline, try to open the document. Just a second, the warning will pop up and it is here. It says that I don't know if anybody is in this document, so you should open it in read-only mode or open it normally. Of course, read-only doesn't save any changes that you did to the file. So basically, this was a quick show of the SmartSync capabilities.
Yes. Well done, Ina. That was really a high-speed SmartSync demo. Yeah, so we still have 2 minutes left for questions.
I think we are light on questions at the moment. Yeah, I have said to everybody in the chat box that we've got over 30 users around the world. So if people want to talk to an existing user to get a bit more sort of feedback on their experiences and how they've made it really work for them, I'm sure people will be very pleased to share and engage with each other to help others on their journey.
Okay, excellent. That sounds great.
Anything else you want to add? Yeah.
We can also always be available for any follow-up questions or comments. And
so I've had a number of members who've shown interest in CaseWare, and they've emailed me or Maxine, and we've put them in touch with the app, who've then introduced them to local distributors. So feel free to reach out to me and Maxine, and we can help point you in the right direction. But thank you all for I know it was a whistle-stop tour this afternoon, but it was a great introduction. That was the purpose, to show you how to put a file together and some of the other features that make this the leading product that it is. So thank you all for your time. I hope you enjoyed the introduction.